Kim with Ray Mancini, and once again, the gloves are off here at Hollywood Smoke in Santa Monica. Ladies and gentlemen, it was televised executions on Showtime. Danny Garcia rips Rod Salka in two. The IBF Junior Welterweight titles, Lamont Peterson bludgeons Edgar Santana over 10. And for the vacant WBA middleweight title, Danny Jacobs with a fifth-round stoppage over Jerrod Fletcher. I found that there's going to be mismatches, Ray. We understand the reality of the business. Not all fights are going to be 50-50. By the time this fight went off, the betting odds, Ray, 50-1. Well,
you know what? You just said it. That whole card was trash. It was absolutely trash. And here's the thing. Is it Showtime or is it the Al Heyman Network? Because it seems to me it's the Al Heyman Network as of late. Al Heyman / Golden Boy Network. I mean, I don't know if anybody else was fighting on there. I don't remember any other promoter having fighters on that and Showtime over the last past year. Maybe that's just me. But Al Heyman certainly controlled this night. Danny Garcia is a much better fighter than that. He shouldn't allow it. I understand the job of a manager is to get your fighter the best fight, easiest fight for the most money. But Danny Garcia and his father both could know that fight couldn't do anything for their potential paydays, for their potential as top 10 fighters or pound for pound, whatever. They had no. It was like you said. It was a bad. It was a sparring session. A bad sparring session.
You know what it did for them, though? Put $700,000 in the bank.
There you go.
For a 50-1 fight. And Carlos Acevedo of UCN, I thought, made a great point in his most recent article. He said there was a point when catch weights were about bringing fighters together to make a fair fight.
Right.
Well, this here catch weight was actually to accentuate a mismatch. Rod Salka, Ray, had never fought at above 132 pounds. So essentially, he's a junior lightweight. Danny Garcia is the recognized 140-pound champion, and they made the fight at 142. So the one chance I think Salka had was maybe Garcia has a problem making 140 in his weight train. Guess what? You give him that 2-pound buffer, and all of a sudden this fight was very reminiscent, Ray, and I'm not kidding, of Joey Gamache Arturo Gatti, wasn't it?
Absolutely. When I saw the knockout, I thought he killed him. I mean, I hate to use those words. I thought he went down like he was shot. I thought, this kid's hurt bad. He's not getting up. It's just, I thought he was hurt bad. And Danny Garcia can punch. He's a good fighter. Like I said, he's better than that. And that's why at this point, I don't know why his father or Al Heyman will allow him to fight guys like Rod Salka. It does nothing for his marquee value. It does nothing but except put $700,000 in his pocket, which ain't bad. But you could fight other guys for $700,000, which gives you credibility, which gives you a higher standard of competition, and promote you to the next wage scale.
You know, going back to your point, though, Al Heyman is looking out for the fiduciary responsibility or the duty of his client. Easiest assignment, most amount of money, he did his job. The people to really blame when it's all said and done are the enablers. Because when it's said to today's game, who pays the freight? Right. The network with the license fee.
Showtime. Espinoza allowing that? Espinoza should be ashamed of himself. Showtime should be ashamed of himself. And their parent network, CBS, who was my network. I love them guys at CBS. But that was garbage. Garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage. I'll put it, I'm going to give it the French version. The garbage.
You know, you look at this card, as you mentioned, Danny Garcia, he was an Al Heyman client. Lamont Peterson recently signed with Al Heyman. His fight, when it was all said and done, betting odds, 33-1. And then Danny Jacobs had the closest fight of the night at 5-1. To me, that was a little bit close of a line. When you look at the matchup between Danny Garcia and Lamont Peterson, I believe they're going to try to make the fight for December 6th. Judging with the styles, if that fight is at 140, both of them have belts. Who do you favor, Garcia or Peterson?
I'm going to tell you what. I like Danny Garcia, but I like Lamont Peterson too. Peterson is a sturdy fighter. Yeah. What I mean by that, hands up, coming, nothing fancy, nothing exceptional, but he's steady. He's steady. He's just, and that's what you need. Danny Garcia hasn't fought a guy who's steady, who takes a good punch, who's going to keep coming forward, and I think Lamont Peterson will.
I think this fight, Ray, is all dependent on distance and spacing. From the inside, I've always said Lamont Peterson is an honorary Mexican because he's a very crafty infighter. He digs with both hands, knows how to work angles. He finds openings on the inside. There was a good uppercut. If it's from the outside, one thing Garcia can do, if he unfurls that left hook from distance, He's a very effective fighter. Going back to Garcia and the mindset of a fighter, we're all human. Ray, if someone could tell you you could do a job, an easier job, all you had to do was show up and you got paid a lot, would you turn it down, though?
No, of course not, because it prolongs your career. If I get paid an easy fight against Rod Salka, well, I've had some tough fights lately, so let me fight and have an easy fight. And why not showcase it on network television where I get paid a large amount of money? Why not? That's great. Of course, the fighter's not going to turn down. He's doing his job. I never blame the fighter. The fighters are doing their job. All the fighters can do is fight who's put in front of them. You know, people used to say to me, why don't you fight this guy? Why don't you fight that guy? I used to tell my manager, David Wolf, line him up. Dave, I want everybody who says they want to fight me, light them up. And Dave used to tell me, Ray, it's not physically possible to fight everyone who says they want to fight you. He said, my job is to get you the best fight for the most money. That's a manager's job. El Heyman did his job, but it wasn't the best fight. He might have got him a lot of money, but it wasn't the best fight. So it doesn't help Danny Garcia in any way, except it was a gimme fight. So, you know, now it's and like you said, Showtime's to blame. They aired that garbage.
When you look at this situation, Danny Garcia in March was supposed to be a tune-up against Mauricio Herrera, and his head was like a Pez dispenser that night. He got his head jabbed off. Most people thought he lost in Puerto Rico. Do you think that psychologically Danny Garcia lost confidence and that the management realized that and they said, Danny, we're going to have to give you another gimme to get over the Herrera fight?
Well, that's what it seems like, obviously. I thought he lost the Herrera fight, but Herrera wasn't going to get out of PR with the title by no means. So if you want to vindicate that fight, you come back with a better fight. You get somebody who's even, you know, rougher, tougher, who's known. Yes, to showcase. You know, get Rod Salka, who is, like you said, a junior lightweight at best, you know, I don't want to disrespect Rod Salka. He did his best. He went in there to fight.
But he's not world class.
But he's not world class.
We have to be honest about it.
And to say it was a sparring session, I think is doing it. You know, is not even. It's doing a little more better than it was. But Rod Salka tried. He went in there. He took the shot. Hey, he got offered a payday. Why not? But Danny Garcia and his management should be ashamed of themselves.
You know, Ray, what I thought was striking as Danny Garcia is being interviewed by Jim Gray, and they're trying to basically excuse this fight, trying to rationalize why this happened. The thing I'll never forget, I'm seeing Danny Garcia's father, Angel Garcia, is one of the most brash, cocky, shameless individuals in boxing. He had a guilty look on his face, like they got over, like we really hurt this guy. Were you ever involved in a fight early in your career as you're going through a careful matchmaking process? You know you're going to win these fights or 95-5 fights.
Right.
When you banged up a guy good, Ray, did you ever have a guilty conscience like, wow, this was kind of a mismatch here?
The only time I did, one time, it was January of 1980. It was my 5th professional fight. I fought a guy in it was a suburb of my hometown, Camel, Ohio, which is a suburb of Youngstown. I fought a guy from West Virginia, Del Gordon. You know, he fought a lot of guys, tough guys. He got in the ring. He looked like Charles Manson. He didn't even look like a fighter. His hair was down, and I looked at this guy, and I knocked him out with a body shot first round, obviously. You know, my job is to get him out as quick as possible. He didn't. He should have gone past one, and he didn't. I was the only fight I ever felt like I stole money because, and it was like I told Dave, don't ever put me in a fight with a guy like that again, please, because it was such a bad mismatch, and the guy couldn't fight a lick. And it was in my hometown. You know, that's even worse. You want to put on a good show for your people, but that was the only time I ever felt guilty about a guy I fought.
So in other words, he looked like a killer, but didn't fight like a killer.
Exactly.
Okay, that was it for another edition of Gloves Off with Ray Mancini and Steve Kim. If you want to tweet us, you could do so at @RealBoomBoom or at SteveUCN Live, #Gloves Off. So till the next round, goodbye, everybody.